Hey Wendy, how's it going? For both Wendy and Samantha, essentially to mute and unmute your mic, just hit the button in the bottom left.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, Wendy. I'm so glad you could join us.
Woohoo! Excited. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for joining. Samantha, are you there with us?
I am here. Thank you so much.
Great. I'm glad to hear it. All right. We'll give it a couple minutes for people to join. This is recorded, so there will be a recording that goes up on our YouTube channel later in the month, as well as some highlights from the both of you that will go up across our social media feeds. Those will both be later in the month so that this can be, front and present throughout Women's History Month.
Fantastic.
It is hard for me to believe that it is Friday. It feels like this has been one of the longest weeks in a while.
Well, I always say like a day in the crypto life is like a day in a dog's life, right? Like 7 times.
It's true. It's true. All right. So we'll start off with introductions. I think we're kind of going to take turns here. It may feel a little elementary school, passing the baton, but it's a format that I think is fun and works well. So we'll start out with introductions. We can start with you, Samantha. Do you want to introduce yourself as well as your nonprofit?
Absolutely. So my name is Samantha Flynn, and I am the Director of Development at the Center for Empowerment and Education, an organization whose mission is to provide support services to survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault, as well as others going through major life crises. We are located in Danbury, Connecticut, but service 13 towns within the northern Fairfield and southern Litchfield areas of Connecticut. And I just want to thank you so much for inviting me to participate today.
I'm really glad to have you here. Yesterday we had ACE SDV, which has some similar goals to you guys, but focused in the Arizona area. And it's always really inspiring to hear nonprofits like yours that help with issues of domestic violence and sexual assault within your region. So I'm excited to hear more about you and what your nonprofit is all about. Wendy, do you want to take it next and introduce yourself as well as your nonprofit?
Absolutely. Hey everyone, I'm Wendy Diamond. I am the founder of Women's Entrepreneurship Day organization, and also in the crypto space, I've been in since 2014, and I'm an LP in 5 crypto funds and involved in about 20 crypto, blockchain Web3 startups. And our foundation was founded in 2013, and it was. I'll kind of give you the funny story of how it kind of happened. I ended up in Honduras on vacation, not realizing it was the murder capital of the world, and I ended up volunteering for an organization that gives microloans to poor women. And I, met a grandmother that was had 3 little kids, and I was like, wow, how'd you, I thought like, are these your kids? And her daughter had passed away, and the husband ran off, and she got this $100 microloan, and literally it changed her whole life. She opened up the one window in her hut where she lived with these 3 kids on a dirt floor, and was selling Cokes and toothpaste, and was enabling those 3 kids to go to school by paying $1 a month. And literally every story in this community. And that's when I realized in 2013, very few people were talking about women in business or women entrepreneurs. And one thing I learned about the statistics were these women were paying these loans back around the world at a 98% rate. And 90% of that was going to educate their children and provide for their families. And, when you look at that, it uplifts the entire community, right? When women are empowered in business, they have self-confidence and dignity. They don't allow human rights violations. And so I came back to New York, and that's when I created I decided to create a day, and I got our governor, our mayor of New York, and then I went to U.S. Congress, and all over the world. We're now celebrating 144 countries and we're all volunteer, by the way, and to empower women in business to alleviate poverty. And we bring governments, business leaders, civil society together to collaborate to find solutions to do so.
Thank you so much, Wendy. That is a fascinating backstory. It's amazing how much a little bit of support, like a microloan, how far that can go. So am I correct in that Women's Entrepreneurship Day this year is in May?
Well, Women's Entrepreneurship Day is officially proclaimed by U.S. Congress again and celebrated all over the world on November 19th. But because of COVID, we had to cancel our November event at the United Nations. So this year we're doing it in May, and excited to announce we've got, ARK Invest, Kathy Wood, woohoo! And also we have, Hester Pierce, crypto mom, the SEC commissioner. And we have a lot of amazing people in the crypto space. And it's basically a day that we're going to celebrate at the United Nations in the delegates dining room. We're taking it over and discussing the importance of how, the crypto community and the Web3 community are making a huge impact in the world, especially right now in Ukraine.
That's amazing. I look forward to that. So going off that crypto aspect, there's two aspects to today's discussion. It's Women's History Month, and then of course crypto. So to start off with crypto, I want to hear how the both of you found out about crypto personally, and how your nonprofit to accept it. So we'll start with Samantha.
Yes. So the center is much newer to crypto than Wendy is. Personally, I had not really heard that much of crypto. Maybe I heard it on a commercial or two. And it wasn't until a longtime friend and donor of the centers had a son living overseas who wanted to make a significant contribution to us through cryptocurrency. And this was just back in this past September, September 21. So this opened up a crypto discussion at the center where we started to do our homework and came across the giving block and learned how crypto could be a significant, how it could have a significant positive impact to our fundraising line. We did a brief presentation to our board. We put the giving block into our communication with our board of directors, and we decided that we would jump on board. And so far, it's been extremely beneficial, but certainly very new to us. And we just look forward to finding ways to really advertise and put that it's something that we're accepting.
That's awesome. We love newcomers. I find that often our newest nonprofits can be so incredibly excited about crypto and where they can go with that. And I look forward to seeing what the center does. Wendy, do you want to discuss your background with crypto personally, as well as how the women's entrepreneurship came to accept it?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. Yeah, so because I founded women, and I credit like founding Women's Entrepreneurship Day for learning about crypto. We're really big in Africa, right? We have such an incredible, impactful team there, and we have about 330 ambassadors around the world that volunteer to represent our movement and to bring this into their communities. And so the team in Africa introduced me to a woman that was in Botswana who, I think it was like 2011, her son got really ill, and she, on the journey, was trying to figure out ways to take care of her son. She's a goat farmer, right? So she's not making a lot of money. And so she, on that journey, learned about Bitcoin. And sadly, though, she didn't have any, right, at the time, and didn't have any money, and her son passed away. And what she did was decided to dedicate her life, after learning about Bitcoin, creating the Satoshi Center in Botswana. And so, it started in a little hut, and, now it's become, she's like advising the government. But that's how I originally learned about it, because, our foundation, I learned in 2013, 250 million girls were living in poverty, and I heard that, I was like, oh my God, so I was like, okay, wow, what Bitcoin is about. And, I call it the most, important, high integrity, deflationary, instrument ever created to bring financial inclusion to all, especially the 2.5 billion unbanked. But, why do I call it high integrity? It's, and a lot of people forget this in the conversation and don't really realize this, but it's the most high integrity, number one, because, the people that founded it didn't care about the three kind of evils, right? Like Putin, like fame, money, or power, right? Like nobody knows who they are. So they have no fame, they have no power, and they've never sold a Bitcoin or transferred a Bitcoin, right? So they have no money from this whole, creating this whole initiative. And that is the, mother of the whole ecosystem of NFT, metaverse, Bitcoin, crypto, everything. And so, I think, because of that, and, the way that our foundation was created was basically because of the microloans and understanding the statistics of the impoverished, because, change happens from the ground up. We need to embrace everybody, right? To have systematic change, you need to embrace everybody. We need the top, but they're never going to make the big systematic change. So that was, the basis for it. And that's kind of, how I learned about it, and, why, we, embraced it with our foundation. So, I ended up, learning about it in 2014, getting involved then in a small way, and then, being in New York City, my ecosystem, I was introduced to, the founding team of Ethereum and got involved with that. And a volunteer actually, with our foundation, introduced me to the beginning, at the ICO of Ethereum. And then just because of being in the ecosystem, I've just really gotten embraced. And a friend of mine from Goldman Sachs created one of the first funds in the space called Block Tower in 2000, I think 7 or 18. And so I got involved with that fund. And, so I've just, so my journey has kind of, and my whole, thesis is, and so tying in, everything we do with our foundation, and embracing the community to work on a lot of important initiatives, with that.
Thank you so much, Wendy. 2014 is quite impressive. You mentioned the unbanked aspect. That's something that's very personally meaningful to me. At my last role was at a company called Yellow Card, and we were exclusively based in Africa, primarily Nigeria and Kenya, but really across West Africa. And I think they've expanded since then. But essentially, the main issue we were trying to tackle was the thousands of unbanked people. I think Nigeria is like at last time I checked, it was over like 50% of the country is unbanked. In a lot of nations, it's difficult for women to open their own bank accounts. There's all sorts of financial restrictions that we found crypto is able to get around. So that's an interesting thing you brought up there. I do want to kind of move to the Women's History Month aspect of this discussion. So this question is a little vague, and I understand that you could write a book as to the answer to this, but I'm curious about what is the importance of Women's History Month to you personally, or to your nonprofit, just in general, your thoughts and insights towards Women's History Month as an awareness period. Samantha, we'll start with you.
Yeah. So as an organization working to end the violence against individuals and families within our communities, it's really important for us to highlight the efforts and actions of women who have been agents of change within the anti-domestic violence and anti-sexual assault movements. Women of color in particular have been on the forefront of these efforts, highlighting the ways in which violence impacts individuals of all identities and backgrounds, and offering intersectional perspectives and solutions. At the center, we strive to provide a trauma-informed environment, and as well as our services through an intersectional lens to meet the needs of each individual that we serve.
Thank you so much, Samantha. Wendy, do you want to go ahead and take it next? The importance of Women's History Month as an awareness period for you?
Yeah, no, sure. Yeah. I mean, the whole basis for our foundation, when I learned about, how women were underfunded, underrepresented, in 2013, and 1% of venture dollars were going towards women founders. And, in history, many women were forgotten, right? Or never given credit. You look at Hedy Lamarr, who founded the internet, right? Al Gore took that role, you know what I mean? So you think of history, our whole movement back in 2013 when we launched, it was to empower, celebrate, and support women in business, right? And at that time, those three words were really never used, right? Now they're used every day. So what's important, for this month, but I feel like, what I say about Women's Entrepreneurship Day is every day, right? Empower, celebrate, and support women. Same thing with Women's History Month, and saying that we need to celebrate women in history because they've been clearly forgotten in a lot of different ways. And, now is the time that we, give credit to the amazing, accomplishments of women in this world.
Thank you so much, Wendy. I couldn't have said it better myself. So, we discussed that, crypto and accepting crypto donations is more than just an alternate revenue stream. Crypto and NFTs are communities. They are, places where, in the metaverse, if you want to use that term, on the internet, especially, people come together and they, are surrounded and, have their own interests, and they support each other. And accepting crypto donations allows nonprofits to connect with those communities and find, the passions of those communities and issues they care about, and provide them a way to support that. But to talk about, specifically crypto donations as, a revenue stream, as a donation, I'd like to hear a bit about what a donation looks like for your nonprofits as far as impact goes. When a donor makes a donation, what is the material result of that from your nonprofit? So we'll start with you, Samantha, for the Center for Empowerment and Education. When somebody makes a donation, how does that make an impact through your nonprofit?
Yeah, so we are a member program of 2 State Coalitions. So we do receive some state funding, but it's only about 50% of what it takes to operate. In order to provide our life-saving at no cost programs and services to all that we do, we have to self-generate that additional 50%. And crypto donations certainly help with that fundraising line, which is so critical because without the fundraising that we do, we just would not be the organization that we stand as today. We are providing, 2 24/7-hour hotlines. We have a 13-bed shelter that we operate. We're providing crisis intervention, ongoing counseling, community education in all of the communities that we serve. We really are a firm believer that an informed community is a safer community. So we have educators out in almost all the public schools, many private schools as well, teaching appropriate curriculum around our issues, and all the donations that we receive go to support all of this important work.
Thank you so much, Samantha. I did want to real quick ask and hear a little bit about I know you guys you help support the Elizabeth House, I believe. I was curious to hear a little bit about that.
Yes. So we actually recently went through a name change, and our Elizabeth House is now called Patricia House. And it is a 13-bed shelter for women and children that are fleeing violence. It is staffed 24/7, and it's just a safe place for these folks that have no place to go. And when they are there, they're typically spending at least 60 days, often much longer. And we're not only providing them a safe home, but also providing them with all the support that they need to get, to be successful and move on to the next piece of their story.
That's great. Thank you so much. I am curious, where does the name Patricia come from?
So Patricia, our president and CEO for 29 years was Patricia Zachman, and she recently retired just 2 weeks ago. So that is her legacy.
And a wonderful legacy to have for sure. Wendy, do you want to talk about the impact of a crypto donation for your nonprofit?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Amazing work, by the way. I love, because I really do, my first, genre into, getting into impact was when I was really young. I volunteered for the Coalition for the Homeless and, really got a real good understanding of the shelter system. So I really honor what you guys are doing. So the donation, so we're all about transparency, traceability, right? So our whole foundation, we're all volunteers. So like there's no full-time person, right? And so what we do is we have, two big initiatives that we work on. I mean, this year we launched the first ever Women in Disability Startup Cohort to help disabled women become entrepreneurs. And so that was recently funded. We brought in an organization to run that called Together International, and they just got a huge Google for grants. So now they're going to be educating, and teaching and mentoring, disabled women to become entrepreneurs. So that's one of our programs. We also have a program where we fund 1,000 impoverished women with microloans to start their entrepreneurial journey. So when people donate, they're going to be able to actually follow those women, and they can see whether they paid back that loan. Because what I love about it is giving a hand up, not a handout. And, basically teaching these women how to fish, right? And another initiative we're doing that we are kicking off is with a company that I'm invested with called Open Grants, which anyone here today who is a nonprofit should really, sign up on this. Open Grants is a marketplace to disrupt the trillions of dollars of non-diluted funding to enable people a seamless way to give money, give grants, but also receive grants. And it uses AI to match people. Like, so you set up your profile once. When you apply for a grant, it automatically populates. But if there's a grant that comes on that fits your mission, you'll be notified by AI, et cetera. And they're doing a lot of the, government's infrastructure bill and, a lot of NIH grants and a lot of, different grants. And so what I did is I partnered with them because we partnered with Stellar Network, and what we're doing is we're putting together and funding 100,000 women in Afghanistan with crypto. And we partnered with Finclusive for the KYC, and so anyone who donates will be able to actually know the woman. They'll know where she is in Afghanistan, and to get this crypto donation, they have to take a crypto course and take a course, and it's only it's a really short course on just educating them about it, and then also do an NFT course, which is another, it's not that long, to teach them really why they're getting it. And we just got a big donation from Stacks Coin. And so this is going to be launching, in the next, 3 months. And so that's another one of our initiatives that we're working on. And it's really kind of fun because we're creating the ecosystem and partnering with the e-commerce sites in Afghanistan now. So those women have a place to use that cryptocurrency. So, we're working on and then we work really closely with legislation. And we just worked with Congresswoman Grace Bang on a bill to support women entrepreneurs. So we do a lot of initiatives that are, kind of ground up and grassroots, and work with governments, so our, one of the things our team in Los Angeles did was work really closely with Mayor Garcetti to launch a program to support women entrepreneurs. And they dedicated a large amount of money, millions of dollars actually, for grants for women entrepreneurs in Los Angeles. So just working all over the world, and let's not forget we're in, 144 countries. So everyone in our team is making really huge impact.
Thank you so much. That crypto initiative in Afghanistan sounds particularly unique. I'll have to keep my eye on that and watch that progress. So I want to go ahead and wrap with perhaps the cheesiest question of the day, but I think it's a useful question and one that provides a solid highlight for the future and for potential crypto donors. I'd like to hear if you could provide a single message to the crypto world, what would it be? We'll start with you, Samantha.
All right, a single message is difficult, but I'm going to give this a try. I want to thank the crypto community for being as generous as you are. And if the giving block is new to you, to please explore the amazing platform that it is and learn about the incredible, worthy organizations that are a part of it. And keep giving because your crypto donations are certainly making significant impacts in so many communities worldwide.
Thank you so much, Samantha. Yes, I know it's a difficult question in a lot of ways, but I always like to ask it. Wendy, do you want to take it next with a single message to the crypto world?
Absolutely. I mean, there's such amazing people making such a big difference in the world. And a lot of the people that, are doing this are not public or not really promotional, right? So if you have a passion and you really have a cause that you want to support, do a Google, find those people, meet with those people, because there's such incredible people in this world doing amazing things. And if you don't have crypto to donate, you can always donate your time. I mean, all these groups, like our groups all volunteer, there's so many groups out there that need the, ingenuity of this ecosystem, right? And so time and talent is definitely also very accepted, I think, for any of the groups around the world to even be educated if they don't understand crypto and to really embrace everyone in the world, because that's how we're going to have mass adoption.
Thank you so much, Wendy. So we'll go ahead and wrap it up there. For those who either joined late or missed the space, we will be uploading a full recording to YouTube later this month. And we'll also be sharing highlights from this discussion across our social media feed later this month. Immediately after this space wraps, I'll post a recap tweet with donation links for both our lovely nonprofit guests today, so you can go ahead and support them. Thank you so much, Samantha. Thank you, Wendy. It was really amazing to have you here today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We love Giving Block. Thank you for creating it and part of it.
We couldn't do it without our wonderful nonprofits like yours. All right. Have a good weekend to both of you and to the audience.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.